You want to know why I choose to live where I live? Because I'm an hour away from this. Not bad. Well, hey, it's Jeff, and I just thought I'd take a break here. It's podcast recording day today, and I've been asking people questions all day long, so I thought, well, maybe it's appropriate for me to answer a couple of questions that have come in. You can send any of your questions to ask@jeffshore.com. And our first question is from Chelsea down in Texas. It's a sort of long question, but it's an important question I think we can all benefit from. So listen up. So Chelsea says, lately I've been running into all types of family groups with different roles and relationships. Unless the buyer comes forth and lets me know the relationship and how they're related, I'm finding it awkward to find the right way to ask. For example, if two men come into my model home, I don't want to instantly assume that they are brothers or partners or friends, but I'd like to know the relationship so I know how best to serve them. Is there a correct way to answer that question without being assumptive? Another example, recently I had a male-female couple come in with a small child, and I originally assumed they were spouses. However, after we were deep into our time together, I finally learned that they were actually brother and sister. My assumption led me down the wrong lane of conversation with them for a while, as they kept referring to the child as theirs. So this is a tough situation because we've got a couple of different issues we want to deal with here, and part of it is just cultural sensitivity, not to mention legal sensitivity. There is the question of how far we can go in asking questions, and yet appropriately so, Chelsea, we don't want to simply assume. And so I do think that you're right to be sensitive about this. I also think that you probably don't need to fear the embarrassment as much as you might, as long as you don't go too far with your assumptions, okay? But here's my suggestion as far as how you figure it out. I'm not really comfortable with saying, so are you married or are you whatever? But the better way to do it might be to let the end result of the purchase decide. So let me give you an example. You, for example, sell homes. So there might be the question of who's going to be living in the home? And then how will you use it, right? So what's most important to the people who are going to be living? And then as you do that, you're going to figure out pretty quickly what's going to happen. If somebody's watching this and they sell cars, then the question is, who's the car for? Who's the primary driver? Who else will be driving? And I think when you think through the way that the product or service is eventually going to be used, then that's going to answer your question on the relationship. But otherwise, yeah, tread lightly. Some people simply are not comfortable sharing that relationship right away, and that's fine. But don't worry about it if you, feel like you're embarrassing yourself. You're probably not. Another question here that came in from Marianne in the Washington, D.C. area. Hey, Jeff, when I'm down, do you have any suggestions for quick pick-me-ups? Simple question, but very important. In sales, we do ride that emotional roller coaster. I think I got a sale. Oh, they went and bought somewhere else. And, there's this constant up and down. And we have to protect our mindset because we give positive energy out all day long. You can only give out that which you have inside. So my suggestion here is this. If you're feeling a little off, feed your brain. Feed your brain. Because what happens is when you study something new, when you study something fresh, when you're learning a new concept and you're really getting your hands around and trying on for size, then it starts to trigger the creative part of your brain. And as you start to trigger the creative part of the brain, you move away from whatever had you down, and it gives you some energy. It gives you some mental energy. It gives you a sense of purpose when you're feeding your brain. It says, I'm dedicated to doing something. I'm moving forward now into this, whatever this is. So that's my advice for you. If you're feeling a little off, if you're feeling a little low, feed your brain. Great way to do that, by the way. Didn't mean to make this a commercial, but the Buyer's Mind podcast, just go to iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you listen to a podcast and just check out a couple of episodes of the Buyer's Mind. We investigate how do people make decisions. And if I understand the way they make decisions, then I can reverse engineer my sales presentation accordingly. So hopefully that helps.